Hello and welcome to another week of Daily Devotions, as this week we talk about images of God. Today we share two liberation theology images. You say, wow, what's that? Well, one is of a line of the poor and an image of light coming in behind them, the image of God shining upon this huddled masses, which looks like they're waiting for food line or some kind of assistance. And then the other is with a darker skin, either African American or African or Middle Eastern man, more reflective of who Christ likely in pigmentation was, with his arms tied behind his back and his back raw from the whipping. And what liberation theology images get at is this idea that we get very strongly from the Gospel of Luke, that the poor and marginalized, the minority, the forgotten, the outcast, is especially heard by God when nobody else gives a darn or takes notice or sees them as invisible and doesn't acknowledge them. And I remember just on so many occasions, but particularly when I was working with Interfaith Hospitality Network down in Durham, North Carolina, North Kakalaka, and how many people would come through the doors of that shelter. And though they were broke, or they had lost their home, or they were living out of their car, or they were trying to get clothes for their kid, or their kids were starving, the greatest wound any of them across the board had was they felt like nobody cared. There was nobody, no family, no friends, no support. They were on their own. And liberation theology says all the things that we say make a person successful or powerful, all the degrees, all the fame, all the fortune, none of it impresses God. God cares for the lowly that humanity has cast off and judged or hurt or wounded or said you're just not up to snuff, survival of the fittest. God says fit has nothing to do with it. You belong because you're my children. And so these very poignant images of Christ as the poor, crucified, emaciated, in solidarity with the experience of the poor. And if you read Luke's Gospel, there's no escaping it. A Christ who says, if you've been disappointed with the way this world is, know that there's another world beyond this one, where everything that seemed unfair or out of whack gets righted. That's the promise of a different kind of kingdom that's spoken about in faith and hope and love, but not yet realized fully. That we pray for when we pray, thy kingdom come, thy will be done here, right now on earth, as it would mirror what it is in heaven. A powerful prayer that's a struggle to sometimes believe, but to see in the images of the liberation theologians, a powerful struggle that needs to be taken by all Christians. May we do so as we wrestle with what it means to include all of God's children into this kingdom that the world will simply not. That the powerful won't let go of their power without a fight. And the status quo, the way things are, well, it's not the way God intends them to be.